Krishna Prabhupada. All glories to our revered speaker for today, His Grace JIVA TATTVA Prabhu, and all glories to the assembled Vaishnavi devotees. We thank you all for being here as always. Today is amazingly the first day of the 8th month, August 2025. It is the first day, but it is the last day of the busy week, Friday, and it is an honor that we have His Grace JIVA TATTVA Prabhu, who will be speaking with us from the Srimad Bhagavatam. I was reminding myself a short while ago, we have 3 verses today, to cover today, and Prabhuji will try his best to render this service. Prabhuji, Hare Krishna Africa expresses the utmost appreciation for your continuous rendering of this service. Everybody has so much to do, especially in this time. But somehow you in particular, you've been able to manage your time in such a way that you are able to be with us at least once a month, every month for such a long time. And we gratefully appreciate. Thank you so much. Now we may put the verse on the screen and you take it over from here. Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna Sadhdev Prabhu. Hare Krishna again to all the wonderful devotees here. And I'm very grateful to Hare Krishna Africa to provide me an opportunity to serve Guru and Gauranga. And of course, grateful to Krishna because he says, time I am. So again, it is his mercy that I am able to provide, render some service for his satisfaction and Srila Prabhupada's satisfaction. Hare Krishna. Are we able to share the verse? Okay. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, dear devotees, please join us for the invocation mantras. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiryet Shavatam Swakatha Krishna Punya Shama Kirtanaha Hridayantastho Bhadrani Vidhunoti Suhasatam Nashtaprayeshva Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagvat Sevaya Bhagavatir Uttam Shloke Bhaktir Bhavti Nashtiki. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. So today we are covering 3 verses, verse number 19, 20, and 21 from chapter 11 of 3rd canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. So please join us in the recitation of this verse. Chatvari trini dve chekam kratadishu yatha kramam sankhyatani sahasrani dvigunani shatani cha. Synonyms. Chatvari, 4. Trini, 3. Dve, 2. Cha, also. Ekam, 1. Krita Adishu, in the Satyuga. Yatha Kramam, and subsequently others. Sankhyatani, numbering. Sahasrani, thousands. Dvigunani, twice. Shatani, hundreds. Cha, also. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. The duration of the Satya millennium equal 4800 years of the demigods. The duration of the Treta millennium equals 3600 years of the demigods. And the duration of the Dwapar millennium equals 2400 years, and that of the Kali millennium is 1200 years of the demigods. Purport. As aforementioned, a year of the demigods is equal to 360 years of the human beings. The duration of the Satyuga is therefore 4,800 times 360, or 1,728,000 years. The duration of the Treta Yuga is 3,600 times 360, or 1,296,000 years. The duration of the Dwapar Yuga is 2,400 times 360, or 864,000 years. And the last, the Kali Yuga, is 1,200 times 360, or 432,000 years. And together, all four yugas, they become 10 times that of Kali Yuga, because we see Kali Yuga is 1200. Twice of that is Dwapar Yuga. Thrice of that is Treta Yuga, and then 4 times. So it's all 10. So instead of 1200, it becomes 12,000 demigod years. Hare Krishna. Verse 20, we can cover the translation. The transitional periods before and after every millennium, which are a few hundred years, as aforementioned, are known as Yug Sandhyas, or the conjunction of the 2 millenniums, according to the expert astronomers. In those periods, all kinds of religious activities are performed. Hare Krishna. Translation. O Vidur, in the Satya millennium, mankind properly and completely maintained the principles of religion. But in other millenniums, religion gradually decreased by one part as religion was proportionately admitted. Purport. In the Satya millennium, complete execution of religious principles prevailed. Gradually, the principles of religion decreased by one part in each of the subsequent millenniums. In other words, at present, there is 1 part religion and 3 parts irreligion. Therefore, people in this age are not very happy. Hare Krishna. Please join us in reciting Srila Prabhupada's pranati so that we can receive his blessings. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gaurvani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langhayate Girim Yat Kripa Tadaham Vande Shri Gurum Dina Tarinam Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. So these 3 verses. So let's cover some background. Vidur he has approached Maitreya, and Maitreya has given him an insight on the lifetimes, the life duration of life for various kind of living entities. Those who are in the heavenly planets, those who are in the sub-heavenly, intermediate level, Bhuva, and then Bhu is like the earthly planets as well. So now he's describing the journey through the ages based on these 3 verses. So time, we understand from that perspective. And we can reflect on it that if time could talk, right? Let's start with this introspection. Ask ourselves this question. If time could talk, what would it say about how we are using it? So again, would it say that we are serving Krishna? Or would it say that we are serving social media, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube, and Google, and so many other things that are there? We live in a very interesting era where time is wasted in distractions, sometimes distracted by other distractions. Oh, look, I see a like. Those are the things that are constantly going on. Time in this era is measured more by clocks and not so much by one's consciousness. Current time, as we can see, is fast moving. Yes, everyone is busy, very busy doing things, but spiritually stagnant. It's not moving at all when it comes to how we are advancing this age. Yet, Lord Krishna in Bhagavad Gita is saying, Kalo asmi, I am time, devourer of all things. So time is not really ticking, it is speaking. Time is speaking in the voice of Krishna. So when we start looking at it, suddenly our perspective may change. And these three verses seem to identify some of the important aspects of time, as how time is not just progressing forward, it's also declining with every age. So we understand that there are four pillars of religion. And in first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, we also covered how bull represents as father and as dharma. Dharma means religion. And the bull stands on four legs. So what are these four legs? One is austerity. Second leg is cleanliness. Third is mercy. And fourth is truthfulness. And as time passes, each leg becomes, weak and diminishes. So these are the four legs of dharma. Tapasya is all about austerity. And sometimes in this material world, people are performing austerity not in Krishna consciousness, but in material consciousness. They drive great distance to work, taking all kind of dangers. We hear about so many accidents on the road, but still people think, that's a level of austerity. Sometimes they are engaged in hearing all kind of gossips and news media that changes every day. Hear about Krishna Katha that never changes, that actually becomes more and more sweet, but then the attraction is more towards all kind of frivolous things in this material world. Then second leg is shaucham, which is cleanliness. Well, everyone's taking care of external cleanliness in the beginning of the day, but what about internal cleanliness? Cleaning the very, subtle body that we have. So no attention has been placed over there in current times, but of course, in the beginning, all these four legs were there in Satyuga. And then comes mercy, daya. Daya is mercy, which was there again, third leg of dharma. And sometimes people talk about mercy, that we have a lot of mercy in this age. How can we expect mercy in this age when the fathers and mothers of religion, this bull and the cows, they are slaughtered on a daily basis in this material world? So in the material consciousness, people try to, twist the very aspect of mercy. And satya, truthfulness. So in this Kali age, we still have truthfulness, but it's also diminishing and will completely be gone by the end of this age. However, there is a beautiful aspect in one of the verses where it identifies that the overlapping period of the two yugas, as one yuga transcends to others, all religious activities can be performed. And it was during this time that Parikshit Maharaj, even though Kali had arrived, he had re-established all four legs of dharma. Yet at the same time, we also see Srila Vyasadeva understanding that the effect of Kali age will be so heavy that Brahmanas would be the first one to fall, and slowly all other levels of societies, they would fall as well. All the Varnas, they will also go through degradation. And Kala Shuddha Sambhava, in the Kali age, from the birth, men will be generally, as again, the living entities, human beings will be generally as Shudras and would further go below instead of going up, unless they get the mercy of Guru and Krishna. So that is very important aspect. So in each age, a leg is lost. And I would like to relate to a verse in 12th canto, which identifies Krite tadadhyaye te vishnum te tayam yajato makehe dwapare paricharyayam kalo tad hari kirtanat. Shukdev Goswami is revealing this to Parikshit Maharaj, that in Krita age, in Satyuga, people could do meditation. How long would they do meditation? Prachetas did meditation for 10,000 years. Raise your hand if you like to do meditation, and be ready that it will take you minimum of 10,000 years to do that meditation. Then sometimes people say, oh, what if we get lives like as long as Lord Brahma or one of the demigods? Then we can do those kind of meditation. Well, in those particular uh, higher planet, heavenly planetary systems, Satloka or Indraloka, the enjoyment is 1,000 times than what we have. And even the demigods are feeling that even though the influence of four ages is not there, there is no motivation, no inspiration for them to be able to take to austerities or even, any of those four dharmas fully and perform devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Yes, they do perform great yajnas. And Lord Vishnu, Lord Krishna, he is the Yajna Purusha to satisfy him. But sometimes when we see, when they are looking at those yajnas, when they're performing those yajnas, they are doing it with the perspective of material benefits. Indra performs 100 Ashwamedha yajnas to become Indra, to secure his post. So you can understand every time anyone else, like Prithu Maharaj in 4th canto, we'll be seeing, he starts performing Ashwamedha yajnas and Indra becomes uncomfortable. He's feeling insecure. So insecurity is an aspect we see in this material world. It doesn't matter whether you are in the post of Brahma or Indra or a living entity, or even at a lower, level of living entities like animals and birds, because their life is filled with fear. So Kriteta Dhyayate Vishnu, because in Krita age, all four legs were perfectly secured. People could meditate on the Supreme Personality of Godhead and attain perfection. But with the, passing of Satyuga came Treta Yuga, and one leg was lost. Austerity was lost. So cleanliness, mercy, and truthfulness, only these three stood. So people started performing fire sacrifices. By performing fire sacrifices, now they could realize that, they can attain perfection through that. Even those fire sacrifices would take thousands of years at times from human, duration. Well, that's why demigods could perform for a few days, and those who are able to substitute for the time that humans would take. And when you perform sacrifices, the person has to be clean, the spot where you're performing sacrifice has to be clean, the paraphernalia has to be clean. So there are like 6-7 types of cleanliness that, have to be taken into consideration. But with the passing of Treta Yuga, even cleanliness diminished. So the second leg got destroyed. And comes the time that Dwapar Yuga, one could go on Paricharyayam. Now, Paricharyayam, Srila Prabhupada very nicely, and the Acharyas also, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, basically identified that people go on pilgrimage, right? So the temple worship, visiting holy places, that became very important. And so they would engage in deity worship, and that would give them perfection. However, with the passing of Dwapar Yuga, Kali Yuga came, and only one leg is there, which is truthfulness. So, and even that is barely existing. So even the last leg is dwindling as the time passes. So Srila Prabhupada, he reveals that in this age of Kali, the legs of dharma is reduced to one, and that is this truthfulness. And even that is being attacked by Kali, personified, as we hear in the first canto. So when we look at time, how should we look at time? Yes, Lord Krishna says, I am time. And it is, from first and second canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, we understand that it is time that actually makes the reactions and the three modes of material nature appear, the mode of goodness, mode of passion, mode of ignorance, and they become active and they start prevailing in this material world. Sometimes people say, oh, what if Krishna, as time, would not have steered these three modes of material nature, then this material world would not have been formed and we would not have been a state. It is not Krishna's desire. It is the living entity's desire to enjoy apart from Krishna, that Krishna has to perform all these activities, even take the form of time. So again, time is an external representation. It's only present in the material universes. Because in spiritual universes, the present moment of service, that is the focus. Everyone's consciousness is on the present moment. It's in the material world that we have the consciousness of thinking about the past, lamenting about the past, or aspiring for the future, and ignoring the very present, which is the gift that we have received. So time is money, yes, but time with Krishna is priceless. We can recycle wasted time? Yes, we can't, basically. So we have to invest it wisely. When it's considered with money, people say time is money. Well, lost wealth can be regained, but lost time can never be regained. Why? Because Krishna won't remind it. Simply, we cannot go back, to yesterday and fix all the mistakes we did yesterday. But we can introspect about our mistakes that we made yesterday so that we can improve ourselves today and moving forward. So sometimes people talk about time as like, people are very busy in this current times, and busy is the new stupid, right? But bhakti, when we are busy in bhakti, that makes us wise because we are wisely occupied in Krishna bhakti, in Krishna's service. So Srila Prabhupada, he also reveals some of the important aspects. Again, why is time so important? Because time is so valuable that even a moment lost cannot be returned, even if you pay millions of dollars. When Alexander the Great, was on the Saryu River and he got malaria, he fell sick. So he was conquering across so many kingdoms and small mosquito, and that's also a female mosquito got him. So you see the irony. No weapons. All she had to do was infect him with malaria. And he called all kind of doctors, at that time, Vaidyas. And he said, I will give you all the gold in the world. Just give me some more time. And they said, sorry, we cannot help. We cannot give you any more time. Then what is this time? And we cannot help in this state. So time is Krishna and he is destroyer of everything. This should humble us, realizing that this time that we are thinking is our time, but is actually Krishna's time. And we have to use it in Krishna's service. Otherwise, the time factor, which is so important, even a moment lost in forgetfulness of Krishna is a great loss. And realizing that time is a representation of the Lord in this material world, every moment is pushing us closer to death of this material body. Unless it is using Krishna consciousness, then we are in proper consciousness. We are not thinking, I am this body. We are thinking, I am an eternal servant of Lord Krishna. Jivera Surupaya Krishna Nityadas. So when we start looking time, it reveals us the significance of time, why time matters, right? Everyone has 24 hours. But we have to look at it that how we devotees have to use it differently. We have to also introspect. Are we spending our life collecting karma or collecting bhakti or cultivating bhakti, basically? We are not into collection. We are not into hoarding, atyahara. That destroys bhakti. So we have to see how we can further cultivate. Means again, we have to practice. We are practitioners. And we have to practice by doing it so that we come to the state of being in it all the time. And so we have to look at it. Do we know our calendar, but not the Lord's eternal plan? What's his eternal plan? He wants every one of us to return back home. And Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he gave a beautiful inspiration that Srila Prabhupada embraced. And he said that the success of our movement is attained so that every organization has a goal, right? And our organization will be successful just if one person becomes fully Krishna conscious. And my dear devotee, that one person has to be you. So each of us have this responsibility to ensure that this particular successful criteria is met. And yes, life is a challenge. But when Krishna is on our side, it becomes the size of a calf's hoof print, and we can easily take on that challenge. So we have to look at various aspects. What are the various things that we can look and meditate on, right? And try to improve. We can look at what is the single biggest time waster in my life, right? What is wasting our time? And when we are doing, going from our one day to the next day, do we forget Krishna very often? What can we do to remember Krishna? Because the key mantra is Smartavya Satatam Vishnu Vismartavya na Jatachit. So if that's something we call a smart shloka. Always remember Krishna, never forget Krishna. Sarve vidhi kinkar. All of the rules and regulations are just subservient to these two principles. Always remember Krishna, never forget Krishna. And what would a time audit of our soul would look like? We should reflect on it. Like if we've had Krishna auditing how we are using him as time, what does it look like? Sometimes people say, oh, time is not good. Time is always good because it's Krishna. Time is not an enemy. It's a reminder, my dear devotees, that this material world is temporary, but Krishna is eternal. So from that perspective, we have to understand that time can help us cultivate bhakti so that we can make proper use and make it priceless. Not just compare it with money, make it priceless in our life. So the clock is ticking, right? And the transcent of yugas, again, I'm using the acronym today as well. This acronym is, as many of you might have guessed, is time. And I'll share with you quickly what these aspects involve. T stands for transcendence of yugas. That it's not just moving forward, it's not just being in cycle, but also showing the declination as how dharma declines. And I is for irreligious infiltration. As from one yuga to next yuga we go, one leg of dharma is, damaged. And M stands for misuse of time. But how do we reflect that misuse of time in our life? Manda sumanda matyo is a nice way to remember it. Like how this Kali Yuga impairs character as well as our intelligence. And E, last but not the least, is eternal opportunity of bhakti, of devotional service that we have received even in such a fallen state. So despite decline, bhakti is timeless and accessible. Before I move forward with this TIME, time factor, I would like to ask you, how many of you would like to have lifespan as long as Lord Brahma? Please raise your hand. I don't see anyone raising their hands. Okay, maybe as long as Swambhuva Manu. Maybe as long as, Vashishta on his first, Vashishta has reincarnated himself many times. As long as Indra. Okay, how many of you would like to have the time as long as what you have been destined? Nobody raised their hand even there. Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you. Of course, that's the opportunity that we have received. Yes?
Can I say something quick?
Yes, please.
I think it would be helpful if we put some years or numbers to these lifespans. Most may be lost thinking, how much would that lifespan be, So even as we speak of living entities, human beings, it's a good idea to just mention some number.
Sure, yes, thank you.
Level is listening to some numbers and then I can respond.
How many of you would like to have, if time was deposited money in your account, how many of you would like to have 311 trillion, years, earthly years in your account? That's lifespan of Lord Brahma. Or how many of you would like to have 72 times the 4 Chaturyugas, which is 12,000 demigod years? or 4,320,000,000,000 times 72. That's the lifespan of Manu. How many of you would just be satisfied if you had just 100 in your account? Well, it is not the quantity, it is the quality of time that matters, right? So that is the most important aspect. It's not how much you have, it's how well are we able to use the time. That is the importance of this particular factor, the time factor. So this transcendence of yoga, when we are going through, as we are understanding that Krite TATTVA Vishnu, people could perform because all four legs were there. But then, as austerity vanished, what happened? Things, Dharma was still on three legs. And yes, many of us are used to seeing three-leg tables. They're still stable, right? You can somehow still stand on three. Well, if the second leg is gone, then you only have two legs. And then you need to balance us. So we have two legs, so we can understand. Which is more struggle, but again, we feel tired and so forth. So again, somehow we can even stand. But what about one leg? This one leg is very tough, and it's easy to shake someone because there are three factors of irreligion running against one. So 3:1. It's like we are in minority all of a sudden. So how well we are using time is of very importance, great importance. So in Satyuga, we were fully charged. All human beings were fully charged. But even in that age, we had Hiranyakashipu, right? He was a great demon. So that's not very good. Treta Yuga, three-leg dharma, yes, it was still losing some balance. But we see personalities like Ravan and Kumkaran appearing during those times. Not very good, because even though they had good opportunity and great lifespan, they didn't use it wisely. Well, Dwapara Yuga, the two legs wobbling, right? Conflicts arise very often. We see Krishna, his cousins, Shishupal, Dantwakra. They were demons because their mindset was that of demons. They had demonic mindset. The demonic mindset is like, yes, I have defeated all my enemies. I'll perform some sacrifice, some charity, and I will, do some level of austerities, and people would worship me with that mindset. That's the demonic mindset. And in Kali age, both the mindsets are in every living entity, and we have to make choices. And then on top of that, this age is supposed to be very unlucky. In this regard, I would like to, share a short story, because people are always thinking, oh, only if I was born in Satyuga. So there was a rishi. He was always wishing, with the coming of Kali Yuga, he was getting worried. It's like, only if I was born in Satyuga, that was the best stage. I could meditate and attain Lord Vishnu's darshan, and that would be perfection of my life. He met his friend, he was expressing. The friend said, no, no, no. See, I perform all these fire sacrifices. Treta Yuga was the best stage. I wish I was in Treta Yuga because I could perform all these sacrifices. Vishwamitra, he performed in Satyuga for 60,000 years. More than his lifespan he spent in doing tapasya, and Menaka appeared and boom, gone. All that austerity is destroyed in a moment because of the attraction towards the opposite sex. And so Treta Yuga is the best. Well, third friend, they had another friend who just joined them, and he said, you know what? Dwapara Yuga was the best because I could perform deity worship, and it doesn't really take so long, not 1,000 years or 10,000s of years. And I have Vigraha form, I'll perform their deity worship, and then, I will be blessed and I'll attain perfection. And I can do it as many times I feel like. It doesn't really require all that cleanliness, all those austerities and all those factors. And this mercy factor, and again, we all depend on Lord's mercy. And that's why Lord appears as his Nam form, as Srimad Bhagavatam, as well as in his Vigraha form. So we always depend. Yes, we do our endeavor, but Lord's mercy is very important. And mercy is still there in Dwapara Yuga. So all three of them were thinking, and they were presenting different aspects that, their identified age is the best. So they decided, you know what, let's find a personality who can respond to this inquiry and tell us which age is the best. So they went to none other than Vyasadeva. Srila Krishna Devaprana Vyasadeva on his Vadrika ashram, where he was actually taking bath when these three sages appeared. So, like, of course, when you have someone coming as a guest, you won't stay in your bathtub, right? You would come and get out and, be responsive to them. So he immediately seeing the three sages coming, he immediately, they are Atithi, they are the guest. And Atithi means that those who come without announcing when they're coming. Tithi means time, right? Is defined duration. Tithi means one who has come. And Atithi Devo Bhava in Vedic system, Atithis are considered as Devo, as the representative of Supreme Personality of Godhead. So immediately came out, and then they put their inquiry in front of Vyasadeva. They said, which age is the best? Satyuga, Treta Yuga, or Dwapara Yuga? Now, Vyasadeva was reminded of a sweet verse that was spoken by Shukdev Goswami to Parikshit Maharaj. Kaler dosh nidhe rajan asti he ko mahan guna kirtana deva krishnasya mukta sangha param vrajet. But as soon as they heard Kali, the sages, they covered their ears. They don't want to hear about Kali. So they looked at each other. Did you hear the response? Did you hear the response? No, I covered my ears as soon as, he said Kali. And what happened was, Vyasdev, after giving this response, they're like, okay, this was it. He jumped back in his pond, right? Continued to take bath. They said, please come out again. We couldn't hear the response. So again, they posed the same question, and then he said the same verse. Kalere dosh nidhe rajan asti eka mahan guna kirtana deva krishnasya mukta sangha param vrajet. As soon as heard the word Kali, they closed their ears again. After giving the response, he goes back into the pond and they say, please come back, please come back. So Vyasadeva, for the third time he comes and he does this, and the whole cycle repeats itself. Then Vyasadeva says, please listen, this is, very important, and don't cover your ears. And when they hear, they realize that Kali is the best age. Why? Kali dosha nidhe rajan. So Shukdev Goswami is revealing this to Parikshit Maharaj. Earlier, when Vyasadeva heard it, when Parikshit Maharaj was fasting for 7 days. And of course, it's in the 12th canto of this, 3rd chapter of this Bhagavatam, Srimad Bhagavatam. So he's saying, Kaler dosh nidhe rajan. It's an ocean of faults. It's not an ocean of water. It's not an ocean of nectar. It's not an ocean of milk. It's not an ocean of wine. It's an ocean of faults. And of course, we don't want to be swimming in an ocean of faults. But unfortunately, we are in this ocean of faults. Kaler dosh nidhe rajan. Asti here eka mahan guna. But it has one great quality. Kirtana deva Krishna Sev. Just by glorifying. Kirtan is not just like doing kirtan. Sometimes we just relate it to the singing aspect, but it actually refers to kirti, which is glorification. So singing glorification or reciting glorification, meditating glorification, hearing about glorification is all part of kirtan. Kirtana deva Krishnasya, of only Lord Krishna. Mukta Sangha, we become free from this material entanglement and param vajeta, and attain the perfect abode, the supreme abode. Now they were shocked, and as if many of us would be shocked as well, that yes, Kali age is standing on one leg, truth, and even that leg is limping. So we have an amazing blessing, but then sometimes people even argue that. They say, but what is the proof? There must be something that Krishna must have said in other times that shows that chanting of the holy name or doing kirtan is the topmost. Well, yes, in Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna, when he is talking about the opulence of the absolute, and is identifying the best among all things so that we can relate to him, he is revealing Mahashinam Bhraguraham Giram Asmi Ekam Aksharam Yajnanam Jap Yajyo Asmi Yatha Varanam Himalaya. So he is revealing Yajnanam Japa Yajyo Asmi. Chanting of the holy name is the best of all sacrifices. So of all the yajnas, I am the chanting of the holy names Japa. And that may be interesting. So they can be just by chanting of the holy name, just Kirtana Krishna said, one can attain perfection no matter which age a person is in. And that's why we see Devashi Narad, sage Narad, he is always glorifying because he is personified devotional service. Yet at the same time, he does have, as when we see from personified devotional service, that means he has special mercy of Radharani. Radharani represents devotional service. And Radharani is, Madan Mohan Mohini. She even attracts Krishna. So when we are looking at this progress of this Kali age, then what are the faults? Sometimes people ask this. Painalpaisha sabhya kalavasmin yuge jana manda sumanda matyo mand bhage upradutta. So in this Kali age, what are the effects of Kali age? Prayana alpaya. People have short lives. Kalavasmin yuge jana. And they're quarrelsome. Manda means people are lazy. Sumanda matyo, less intelligent. Mand bhage, well, very less intelligent. Mandamatya would be less intelligent. Sumandamatya makes it very less intelligent. Mandabhagya. And they're unlucky because they're making wrong choices. And upraduta, so they are constantly disturbed. These are the effects of this Kali age. And as we understand the effects of this Kali age, so we start to look at time from a different factors, right? To realize that chanting is of the holy name is our only hope. Only substance that we have received that can deliver us from this ocean of faults. And the yugas, they just don't represent time but a test, right? And as the world gets darker, the soul must shine brighter. And that can only happen when we take to the chanting of the holy name. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Now, when we take to the chanting of the holy name, we transcend the three modes of material nature. So we start to experience some of the blessings that other yugas were experiencing. Why? Because people in Satyuga, they were introspective and pure. And in contact with bhakti, which is all pure, we start to purify. In Satyuga, sometimes it is referred to as days of yore, because there was no need for temples. The body was the temple. Right? In Treta Yuga, there was decline in personal purity, so it caused ritualistic sacrifices to become the basis. Dwapara Yuga, well, even that focus on chanting the mantras perfectly was losing its effect, so mental focus reduced, and so the deity worship helped anchor the minds, in devotion. But with the coming of Kali Yuga, which is short memory, short lives, less purity, but maximum mercy. So think of it, Asti hai ek mahan guna. So the worst stage Kali is also the best opportunity that by simply chanting the holy name, we can attain perfection. Now somebody could say, well, in Satyuga, people meditated for 60,000 years. Today we meditate for 60 seconds, but we check our phone 6 times. That's what is going on. Kali Yuga is faster and shallower. The time is running very fast in this age because people are busy, and busy is the new stupid. We understand that aspect now. And so we are staying on the shallow level. Like Treta Yuga, people were building bridges with monkeys. Ram Setu was built from Kanyakumari to Sri Lanka, Ceylon. Now we have bridges that collapse under monkeys typing on social media. From Vanarus to vanity. This is our progress, in the wrong direction. We're declining. Dwapara Yuga had Mahabharat war, right? But what's today's war? Today's war is who gets the Wi-Fi password first, right? No Kurukshetra, but router Kshetra has become the focus in current times. Well, let's look at it. In Satyuga, rishis had no Wi-Fi, but high connection. They were meditating. In Kali Yuga, high Wi-Fi with no connection. So bhakti requires bandwidth of our heart to expand. Treta Yuga had Ravan who stole Sita Mata. Kali Yuga has ransomware that steals our files. Right? Even demons are digitized in this Kali age. No surprise that people came out with more social media on like pixels turning demons. Satyuga, 4 legs of Dharma, in Kali Yuga, 1 leg limping in this age. Next would be wheelchair Dharma, right? It's available on Amazon Prime. So we have to hold on to this last leg of Dharma, truthfulness, and with a truthful heart, carry out the chanting of the holy name. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. You know, in old times, people would run great distance, they would walk great distance. So nowadays, people say, yes, I can run 5 miles from my, TV to my fridge and back 5 times. So the true strength is in spiritual stamina, not in, social media service and so forth. During Dwapar Yuga, people could memorize all the Vedas. Just by hearing words, Sutta Goswami remembered complete Srimad Bhagavatam he recited in Naimisharanya. While in Kali age, we forget the shopping list that was prepared 10 minutes back. So we have to understand that there is only one thing we have to remember, Krishna. So start by remembering one name, Krishna, always. Always take an opportunity to not forget Krishna, but pray to him that he always appears in our heart. So rishis would sit in the forest for tapasya, but today's sadhana, we are sitting around Zoom calls without dosing, right? That becomes a challenge in current times. We are on a Zoom call and we are hearing Krishna Katha, but then how do we avoid dozing off? Because Krishna name is all attractive and it attracts all kind of, sleep fairies to our ways, and it becomes difficult. My Guru Maharaj, he would sometimes say that Kali Yuga is difficult, but our process is simple. The holy name is a boat that sails through the ocean of coral. And it's very interesting that it's not just a boat, because when you have a boat, that means you can have limited luggage. But this Sankirtan Yajna of this Kali age is so wonderful that it's like a cruise, where you have all facilities of spiritual realm, transcending the 3 modes of material nature on this cruise. But every day you have to buy the ticket to be on this, otherwise you will be thrown overboard. And what's that? Follow the 4 regulative principles and chant minimum of 16 rounds. That's the minimum. Srila Prabhupada, he gave us concession by his mercy. So Krishna's mercy is flowing through him, so we have to accept it from that perspective. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he gave us the highest thing to the lowest people freely, right? He opened the gates of the treasure house of Goloka to all, so much so that when Nityananda Prabhu, his Adi Guru, he approached the 2 constables, the Kotwals, basically. And who are these? Jagai and Madhai. This Jagai and Madhai represent the people of this Kali age. And he was begging them to take to the chanting of the holy name. And what did Jagai do? He actually threw the liquor pot and hurt Nityananda Prabhu. But Nityananda Prabhu did not give up his goal that I have to deliver these 2 fallen souls. His Holiness Bhakti Swami has a beautiful saying that really touched my heart. He says that don't just study the symptoms of Kali, become the cure. Be a spiritual activist. And to be a spiritual activist, we have to first purify our consciousness. Only then we can purify others. So we have to take it to our heart and expand our bandwidth instead of, trying to correct everyone else. So we have to look at ourselves. It is time for introspection. What symptoms of this Kali Yuga that we can observe in ourselves? We have to look at which leg of dharma do we struggle with most? Is it austerity? Is it cleanliness? Is it mercy? Or is it truthfulness? And how can we contribute to restoring dharma around us? Charity begins at home. Even a little bit of improvement is great leap ahead. And how does the transcendence of time inspires urgency in our spiritual life? How do we really start to see Krishna as time? We can stabilize our mind in this Yuga Dharma by, chanting during the Brahma Muhurat. We can read about the Satyuga saints. Even from Hiranyakashipu, we can take examples, and Prahlad Maharaj. We can visit the temples on Ekadashi and reflect on time. We can discuss how yugas are declining. With friends in a spiritual circle, we can discuss this. And we can incorporate practices like digital detox once a week, right? Simulate Satyuga silence. Again, we have to, because there is so much tendency to speak. Let's hear more about Krishna Katha. And so we can understand coming to I, which is irreligious infiltration. Right? We have to realize that in Kali Yuga, religion doesn't always appear as evil. It wears the mask of distraction, rationalism, and harmless fun. Right? Even irreligion knows that if it just appears as it is, people may ignore it. So it takes on different kind of, we talk about Halloween times, where people who are looking good try to look horrible. Let's just say, they try to dress up as ghosts and whatnot. But here, one who is appearing as demon is covering himself in nice attire, because even in front of Parikshit Maharaj, Kali appeared dressed as a king, even though he was Shudra. So this is what Kali does, And in this current times, it twists our perspective so that dharma gets replaced by convenience over commitment, preferences over principles, and impulsive expressions over introspective elevation. Yes, means people have this tendency to rationalize, that how they are right. So this weakening of spiritual habits is a symptom, not the cause. We have to understand and detect Kali. Sorry, there is, we experience coronavirus, but we fail to experience the effect of this Kali age coming as distractions our way, rationalization, and so many other different forms as we see it on a day-to-day basis. So this causes subtle adharma, irreligion, camouflaged as New Age spirituality. We hear about this, right? Sometimes we hear camouflaged as personal truth or self-care without self-realization. So there are so many, influences online. We see they're talking about love thyself and, you have to do self-care and all that, without understanding that they are talking about just cleaning the cage, which is this body, and not the bird within the cage, which is us, the soul in the cage of this body. So we have to look at things from those perspectives and see that how things are declining in this current age, and how this manda sumanda bhatyo, causing this misuse of time, which is M, is driving away of the greatest commodity that we have, right? So we are spiritually becoming, with manda, spiritually lazy. With sumanda matyo, we are getting misled by, our very less intelligence. And man bhagya means people are becoming spiritually unfortunate. So these are some of the things that we have to continuously look. But yet we have Asti hai ek mahan guna. It's a special opportunity to engage in bhakti, that we can take to the chanting of the holy name, take to the bhakti process, the devotional service, and make our life perfect. Srila Prabhupada gave us one sweet mantra: chant and be happy. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Of course, as always. Beautiful. Dear devotees, if anyone may have questions, comments, reflections, realizations you may want to ask or share, please indicate by using the hand emoji or your physical hand, and you'll be asked to unmute to ask your question or to share your reflections. Well, Prabhuji, thank you so much for this Krishna Katha. I have one quick question. The Yuga Sandhyas, which is from one age to the other, Srila Prabhupada is explaining that there is a short transition. And this short transition is a very nice period for performing lots of religious activities. And I'm wondering if Kali Yuga to Satya Yuga also has such Yuga Sandhya, where people become religious. I'm thinking that from the Satya all the way to Kali, the Sandhyas will have these religious performances. But I'm wondering, Kali Yuga, the way it is described, how bad it's going to get, if some few people in that transitional period will become religious, if you may share some insight on this. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So the plan has already been placed. So in Srimad Bhagavatam, it's described there are a couple of personalities. They continue to live through Satyuga and so forth. And they are, again, just like Kali is in camouflage, they are acting as incognito. And they will be the ones initiating the beginning of Satyuga. That's already identified. And it's in Srimad Bhagavatam. However, we also have to understand the Yug Sandhyas. You actually have 4 questions within your description. Let me start with the first one. Yug Sandhyas. We are actually in the Yug Sandhya, and that is reflected as this golden age and this Kali times, the 10,000 years. That started with the appearance of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and so forth. So we still have this golden time in this Kali age, where we can take to the chanting. After this 10,000 years are over, things are really going to deteriorate badly. And it's very interesting when we look at things like how this golden age is going to take its effect. And Padma Puran goes a little deeper. Think of, when you throw a ball, it takes an elliptical shape, right? That's how it's going to be. It's going to rise, and top, it will be the highest, around 5,000 years. And then it's going to start declining and completely gone by the end of 10,000 years. And so we'll have a lot of hope to be able to, and this, we should make an effort to get out, not to look for another lifespan, just try to get perfection in this lifespan. And the process is the easiest. So that's where Yug Sandhyas will enable us to attain perfection by engaging in devotional service, which I also mentioned, of all the yagyas, Jap yagyas, Lord Krishna says that I am the chanting of the holy name. So no matter which age we are in, chanting of the holy name is the greatest benediction, is the easiest and the best. So we should take to that. And of them, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, again, those 3 factors, but it all starts with hearing more. More hearing, chanting, and then always remembering. And Lord Krishna's mercy is what we have to depend on. Second aspect is, of course, I kind of briefly addressed it, that at the end of Kali Yuga, Satyuga will start and all 4 legs will be established by these 2 personalities. But everyone else who would be existing near the end of Kali age will be killed by Kali and his age, Kalaki.
Kalki, yeah.
And his agents. They will be killing all the human-like living entities. It won't be purely human. Third aspect is that these 4 ages that are repeated 1,000 times in one day of Brahma is only experienced on the earthly planets. Lower planets, the condition is even worse. So they have lower level of spirituality, which sometimes people are shocked because one of the lower planets happens to be home planet of Lord Shiva and Parvati. So you say, how could it be? How could that be? Well, you can have, Lord Shiva is known to have residence or wander in places which are very much fallen from human perspective, from material perspective. As he resides in Shamshan, the place where the pyres and the dead bodies are burned. That doesn't impact him. He's all pure. Vaishnavanam Yatha Shambhu. He is the topmost Vaishnava. He is the purest of all Vaishnavas. Shiva means all auspicious. Yet at the same time, he may be in an auspicious place, but that doesn't pollute him because his consciousness is much higher. So we have to understand that it's mainly with respect to the earthly age, earthly platform, the earthly planets that experience these 4 yugas. And especially the human form of birth is very special because we have a perfect combination of pain and enjoyment. So bliss and suffering, and perfect combination that we can take to devotional service. Does that answer your question, Prabhu?
Oh, yes. Yes, it does. It does. Thank you, Prabhuji. Monica Mataji, you may unmute, please.
Krishna Prabhuji, I've mentioned the question in the chat. If you can please read it. Thank you.
Sure. Hare Krishna Prabhuji, if Lord provides us
Humble
free will, yeah,
Yes.
please, do you want to read it, Mataji?
Prabhuji, you please read it. And, if you can provide me the answer. Thank
Sure.
you, Prabhuji. Humble obeisances.
Yes.
Dandavat
And
pranam.
say, yeah, so I'll read it.
All right,
free-
yeah, you may read so
Yep.
people will understand it, what the question is.
She wants one of us to read, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Okay, thank you.
Let's say my free will is to attain only devotional service to the lotus feet of the Lord and not material gains. Will Krishna provide me in this Kali age? Also, how do I know in the devotional scale, let's say 10, where do I stand and how much I need to improve? Hare Krishna, please accept my humble obeisances. Dandavat pranam Mataji and Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, Monica Mataji. Very important question that you asked. One of the things that I would like to also throw as a perspective, there is no scale. And this is the time where we understand that, yes, we have discovered the enemy, and the enemy is us when we are thinking ourselves as this body. And so Kali has this impact on us that it becomes not just as distractions, but also as rationalization. And we have the tendency, thinking as this body, we try to present ourselves with rational lies. They are not truths, they are rational lies. We sometimes feel that, yes, we are engaged in devotional service, but it is overcome by so many impurities in our heart. So that's the mood. That's why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he inspires us to hear the very mantra that we are chanting with full attention, because there are so many distractions. We cannot think of, oh, will I be able to chant all my 16 times 108 mantras, 1 lakh names purely? No, we have to focus on the current moment because it's present, it's a gift. And this is where we have to use it when chanting the holy name. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. With a prayerful heart that please engage me in your service. So when we are asking for please engage in our service, we are also realizing that we are currently not engaged in the service. That's why we are begging. And the moment the time has passed, we should not be lamenting about the past, right? Oh, I did not chant this very nicely. But because when we do that, His Holiness Radhanath Swami said, we are missing out the opportunity to chant the next mantra. Forget about the mistake we did in the past. Let's try to improve upon it. So we have discovered the enemy. The enemy is us, and we have to improve ourselves from where we are today to be better. Hare Krishna. And even in Goloka, their devotion is increasing, leaps and bounds. So what to talk about us? We are in this fallen state and we are just hoping to be better version of ourselves in the very next moment that we experience. Hare Krishna, hopefully this answers your question.
Hare Krishna, thank you.
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Now, thank you.
Thank you, Monica Mataji, for your beautiful questions. Suman Singh Prabhu, you may unmute.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat
Oh,
Pranam.
Mataji, sorry, I'm sorry. Yes, please go ahead.
Prabhuji, my question is, like, what should be our mood when in Bhagavad Gita, Lord Shri Krishna says that in 7.3 that in human life, it is like if 1,000 people are there, among them one will be in devotional will be serving in a devotional service, and among them very few will attend me. And somewhere in the scripture it's written that we should be very much feel like we should be more humbler and more submissive, and we shouldn't think like okay, means the first one is saying that we are precious because we are at least into the Krishna consciousness, and the second scripture is telling that we should be humbler, and we should be very much means where we should not think about ourselves that yes, we are so and so in spiritual life. So what should be our mood, Prabhuji?
Hare Krishna. His Holiness Bhaktitit Maharaj presents it very nicely. We have to act like beggars. Beggars always go like this, right? They always have like, please give me. And when we spread our hands, right, to receive something, that please give me your mercy, we have to become humble and we have to become tolerant. And anyone and everyone that we see, could be the person through which Krishna mercy may flow in our lives. So which means we have to give all respect to others. And we have to tolerate all kind of insults. In this material world, devotees, they tolerate all kind of insults. Sometimes people say that, Hare Krishna devotees, they don't do anything. Well, we do twice than what normal materialists do. And we don't do the kind of things that normal materialists do, which is like, eat, sleep, and be merry. We try to avoid those things. We want to be awake. That's why Krishna says that for materialists, the time of awakening is the time of, meditation for the yogi, sleep for the yogi, sometimes referred to as, and the time of, again, it's the other way. And we see it in real life. When devotees are waking up to chant, night clubs are closing at that time, 3 a.m., 4 a.m. So they were dancing all night, but they were dancing on the rhythm of Kali, while we are dancing on the rhythm of Krishna. So that is the big difference we have to understand. So our mood is that of a beggar. And we are saying that please engage me in your service so that I can please you. Because when we please Krishna, he is Rishikesha, he is the master of our senses. Only then we will get true satisfaction. Hare Krishna. Hopefully this answers the question.
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Suman Singh. Anyone else? Nirudal, you may unmute.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, all the devotees. Please accept my humble obeisances.
Jai. Hare Krishna.
Yes, Prabhuji, my question is that devotees worship Krishna in a particular mood, like with a particular bhav. Sometimes some devotees worship in the bhav of as Krishna as a child. Some devotees pray to Krishna with a bhav of mm, friend, like Arjun did. And how do we get to know? Does that come with time? Be practicing devotional service, or is that the spiritual master lets us get to know which bhav we have to uh, mm, worship Krishna? Please throw
Hare
some
Krishna.
light on this. Yes.
Well, this particular aspect, all four sampradayas, they are coming to the same point, that in the beginning, our mood should be, because we are not in a being state, we are in a polluted state. Sometimes the tendency is to make a leap bounds. Sometimes people, they try to behave like gopis and they're serving Krishna. They're trying to think that way. That is another snare of Maya, or especially Kali in these current times. We have to understand that all acharyas in all four sampradayas have revealed that in the beginning, we have to be in a doing state. Adha Shraddha Tata Sadhu Sangha Bhajan Kriya, then Anartha Nivrati Syat. Then comes Nishtha. So we have to understand that we start with some faith, then we engage came to the association of devotees where we are hearing Krishna Katha. And so we are engaged in Bhajan Kriya. Bhajan Kriya, sometimes people think of it as worship, but it's all 9% of devotion service. Because among the devotees, glorification of Krishna is going on, and it goes on in these 9 different processes, forms. So we engage in this abhideya processes. But we haven't attained perfection. Then we comes to Nishtha, which is stronger faith. So we start with little faith. Now we have come to stronger faith by this process. Anartha Nivrati. Kam, Krodh, Lobh, Moh, Mad, Matsara. All these 6 kinds of things are eliminated. But when we are engaged in Bhajan Kriya to come to this Nishtha, we are still on the level of doing to being. So we have now doing little here in the beginning with Adha Shraddha, but we are doing much more in the level of Nishtha, because now we are becoming much more interested. And then Vishta comes Ruchi. Ruchi means our interest develops at that point. Even there, we don't really come to know what our true relationship is. So even at the Ruchi stage, we are more approaching Krishna, and none means again Lakshmi Narayan, in awe and reverence, we are praying to them. Then from this, when we come to Asakti state, that's where Lord Krishna becomes merciful to reveal to us in the relationship where we start to engage in. It is not before Asakti that we have come to that stage. And once we have Asakti, then we come to the level of power. Then we start to have that relationship built strongly with the Supreme Lord. And when it becomes too concentrated, it takes the form of prema. So sometimes people have this tendency of leaping over and deciding, not wait for Krishna to decide, deciding on their own that this is the form they want to worship Krishna in. Yes, Krishna can be worshipped in whichever form, but bhav has to be developed. And that bhav comes truly when we are at the level of Nishtha. Till then, we are practitioners. Before Nishtha, we are all practitioners. And even at the level of Nishtha, we are just senior practitioners from Krishna's perspective. And we are receiving more mercy from Krishna so that we can come to the level of Ruchi and Asakti. Hare Krishna. Does that answer your question?
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you all. Adananda Rupa, Hare Krishna. Please unmute. Hare Krishna.
To all the devotees. So, Prabhuji, I want to just quickly identify. I think it will be helpful for everyone. This is regarding question of Niru Mataji. She wanted to have some clarification in the beginning stages when someone starts practicing Krishna consciousness under the guidance of, whether they may be getting guidance or they may not be getting guidance, they feel kind of lost. Which photo of Krishna or the deity of Krishna should we place in our altar? Even to do bhajan kriya with other devotees, or as we chant the holy names, who should be my worshipable deity or form or photo in my altar, who I can fix my thoughts on? So this is a very common actually situation experienced by most devotees, because once they start reading all these beautiful purports of Srila Prabhupada and the scriptures, and how we begin with weak faith, no faith, or some faith, and how it goes stronger through time till Nishtha, till we learn what bhav we are going to worship in. Still, we need to have our altar, we start worshipping. So from that perspective, if we can share something, what should we have there? I think that will be very helpful for everyone.
Thank you. Thank you for identifying that. So whichever form of Krishna you find most attractive, that's the form which invokes, your Shraddha is stronger, your faith stronger, your attraction towards Krishna is stronger. Beauty is in the eye of beholder, right? So yes, Krishna is all attractive. He can attract everyone. He has all these 6 potencies that attract everyone. All his potencies are in his name. Many times I just see that people have Mahamantra placed on their altar because they are more attracted by Nam Prabhu. And they want to constantly look at the mantra and remember. Sometimes I see devotees, like I myself, love the Damodar form of Krishna. Why? Because he's showing to us his mercy and how he is even controlled by his mother, allowing her to bind him. And reflecting that important principle, we have to never stop doing an endeavor, yet at the same time fully rely on Krishna's mercy. So whichever form attracts you the most. Many devotees, in the beginning when they are engaged in bhajan kriya, when they engage in deity worship, they may still be performing many offenses. And offenses to the lotus feet of Radha Krishna is very dangerous. So sometimes there may be some heavy reaction. So that requires much higher purity of heart. So people, they worship Gauranitai because Gauranitai are all merciful. That doesn't mean just because they're all merciful that we should commit offenses. We should still make effort every day to improve our practice, right? Because if we continue to do the same practice with the same faults again, it will make it permanent. Practice, practice, practice doesn't make a man perfect. It makes a man permanent in those habits. So we have to be very careful on constantly improving what we are practicing to have a higher goal. Yes, param drishtva nivartate, we get the higher taste, but we should not just stop at that higher taste. We want, it's a progressive. The word Srila Prabhupada didn't say high taste. He's saying higher taste. So our taste should be improving every time as we engage in devotional service. And there is no upper limit. There's no scale of 1 to 10. There's no scale of 1 to 1,000. It's just higher and higher and higher. And even Krishna, he becomes more and more attractive as our service becomes more and more pure for his satisfaction. That's the competition between gopis and Krishna we hear about. Similarly, our life should be following that example. Hare Krishna. Hopefully that answers the question.
Yes, I think, whether one starts with just simply a picture of Radha Krishna, and after a while, with the mercy of devotees, they get showered with so many gifts of Panch Tattva photographs or, Gauranitai deities, Laddu Gopalji, so many different forms we see devotees feel attracted to. So I guess I just wanted to quickly add that there is no harm, please, but gradually over time, please get some insight or information on placing the Vaishnavacharyas, the 6 Goswamis pictures through which, we are getting all this mercy. So we should feel gratitude for the devotees of the Lord. So we can get more guidance on that gradually. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Mother Nandarupa. Anyone else with something to ask or to share? Prabhuji, thank you so much. Neera, sorry. Please, you may unmute.
Hare Krishna. Mataji, Prabhuji, if time is not the constraint, I have one more question, please.
Yes.
Yes. Prabhuji, at times it so happens that we get so many photos or kinds of display of Radha Krishna if we go to ISKCON temple or anywhere, or we get as gift also, somebody gives us, and our tendency is that we place them all on our altar. And is it okay to put so many different types of photos and things on Radha Krishna pictures and displays on the altar, or it should be only one? If they are there, how can we remove? Is it okay to remove them? Or please throw some light on this, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. So if you place Lord's, picture or his deities onto the altar, that means you have to serve them. Just like buying a piano does not make you a master pianist, right? Yes, you have received a mercy of the Lord through a devotee that they have gifted you a deity or a picture of Krishna, and you place them on the altar, then you have to also assume this responsibility that I have to worship them on a daily basis. So again, that's a commitment that you have to make. So when you place, Lord Krishna as representatives onto the altar, then that becomes part of your service. It's a great boon to receive many pictures, to place them on the altar, but not to ignore them, because now you're making a commitment that you have to serve them. And the more you serve, more the merrier. It is, because now you're spending more time. Yet at the same time, I have also seen devotees who actually follow Srila Prabhupada's one very simple mantra. They do not have an altar even in their home, because the scriptures talk about Harina, right? Sankirtan Yajna Praya. Yajanti hi sumedhasa. People who are very intelligent, they engage in Sankirtan Yajna. So many times people don't have even an altar in their home, and they make sure that their children are properly getting spiritual guidance. So they are, yes, spiritually enlivening each other, husband, wife, but also engaging children in it. And sometimes you see these family is to be more pure than the families who are engaged in bhajan kriya. So that is also a very interesting perspective people can look. And Srila Prabhupada said that your children are your deities. So it becomes responsibility of parents to make sure that the children are Krishna conscious. And that becomes the focus. So that becomes the responsibility. And I have seen some families just having children, no altar at home, but they are engaging 3 to 4 hours, taking care of their children to become Krishna conscious. And in the process, they are becoming much more Krishna conscious. So that is also one way of looking at things. So it's personal preference, and we have to make sure that we are not insulting the Lordship or his memory. That's why people, when they receive pictures, they put them around the house. Every room has some pictures. By that, what happens is they are constantly remembering Krishna. Yet at the same time, putting the same picture on altar has a different meaning, because so now you are making a commitment. Hare Krishna. Hopefully this answers the question. I don't want to discourage anyone. I just want you to understand that, yes, when you do add someone, another picture of Krishna, you're making a commitment to Krishna. And that's a great blessing if you can continue to have that commitment. But negligence may cause for the fall down. So please go.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Please set my obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Yeah.
If I might, I wanted to add a different perspective. First of all, this practice of bhakti should be done, first of all, with the heart connection, desire to love and serve Krishna, more so than the mind, knowledge storage, or anything that looks like someone may be able to judge us because of what we're doing. Everything about this process is meant to be internal and individual and simplistic, based on love. Love is the overriding everything for bhakti, which is what we're supposed to be practicing. Regarding the statement that our children are our deities, that statement is not meant to mean that we push their heads to the floor so that they can learn how to do dandavats. They learn by watching us, what we do, how we do, what we say, how we love one another, how we share with one another, how we inspire one another to remember Krishna. That is what carries over more than anything that looks like a production or a show. Them being our deities means that they are to be adored, protected, kept safe, clean, and loved in a way that means great affection and great love. Not
Well,
Correct.
Pravinda, it seems you're
Krishna
breaking.
consciousness.
Okay.
Krishna consciousness is about free will. So if we're forcing our children to do anything, then they will rebel and go away. I love to see devotee children who you can see the Krishna consciousness in them without them having to make a show of anything. My personal observation is that there are a lot of people having children do shows. And it, in some ways, makes me sad. They're reciting shloka, doing this, doing that. Yes. And again, this is a heart practice. It's from the heart. So if we're remembering shlokas or having children mimic these things, whether they're showing that they can do RT at 6 months, what have you, how does that relate to how they interact with others? Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Haribol, can I quickly add something? I won't take long.
Please.
Yeah.
So sometimes, certain people are not gifted with a lot of things. I'm speaking regarding having ability to make the heart connection. I have been there, so I speak from experience. A lot of things we assume people should know already, and they may not. They may not have received that in this life. They may not have received that in their upbringing. And so the concept of Vedi sadhana bhakti is there. Since spontaneously someone is short of making that heart-to-heart connection, or they have not seen anyone in their family doing that before, so their approach to devotional life may be different than ideally what is expected. So that's why, we follow in the footsteps, or we follow the instructions. We start placing things on our altar. We take baby steps. And we improve. We improve over time. We learn from everything. We are watching, observing, just like our children are. And sure enough, we all learn through life that we have to walk our talk. That is the best way, best preaching, best way to, inspire ourselves and to inspire others also. So, yeah, that's all I just quickly wanted to add. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Devi, I think you just said everything I said in a different way, but thank you for repeating. Hare Krishna.
Yeah. Thank you, all the devotees. Shri JIVA TATTVA Prabhu, please.
Hare Krishna. So David's response, I see more touching to the heart. I'll give you the example, Miss, our sons. They come to the Aarti, they're fully engaged. Again, Krishna consciousness is above the Varnashram, right? So again, Varnashram is still in the material consciousness. The Brahmanas in the mode of goodness. Mode of goodness is a material mode. Kshatriyas, mode of passion. It's a material mode. Vaishyas, mix of mode of passion and ignorance, material mode. Shudras, mode of ignorance. We hear about the story of a cobbler and a Brahman, being asking question of Devashi Narad, what is Lord doing, Lord Narayan doing, and seeing that he is passing an elephant through the eye of a needle. Their faith is tested. So again, yes, while it's a matter of heart, it's also a matter of realization. We have to first be doing something. In the beginning, a child is taught 2 + 2 = 4. The child may question, why do I have to do this addition? And the same child in first grade may feel confused. Okay, 1, 2 + 1, 2. So that together becomes 4. But if you say 1 - 3, the child will be confused. 1 and 3. How do I subtract 3 from 1? But by the time they come to the 5th grade, they say, oh, that's a -2. Comes to the 9th grade, people are talking about imaginary numbers. The child is again confused. So at different levels, new aspects are revealed to us. First, we learn it by doing, and as with proper association and guidance, we come to the level of being at each stage. So think of it, as a progressive cycle. So we have to always look at it and be very inspired to learn more. Because you don't have to wait for a whole year to come to the level of the next level. We have every moment given to us, as Krishna. So Krishna is time, is giving us his association in the form of time to help us come closer to him. How closer we want to come is completely dependent on our enthusiasm, our desire to please Krishna. And that's why it is said that we make progress when we engage in sadhu seva, right? Association of devotees. So association of devotees doesn't just mean that we are sitting with them and they are, doing and they're doing and we're just saying sweet words. Similarly, we can have great sadhu sangha even with children. We can just have them read Krishna book on a daily basis, and then we share our reflections and answer their questions. Children have amazing inquiries. Sometimes we are surprised that they ask such questions that we have to say, I do not know the answer. That should humble us. I have to ask someone who's more senior to me, other sadhus and other devotees who are my mentors, my preachers, my teachers, so that I make further progress. So Krishna's mercy sometimes flows in the form of his devotees, and these children are also his devotees, just covered as our children. That doesn't make us greater than them. That just makes us humble, that we have to take care. And our deities should be also taken care of, just like our children are taken care of. It's a reverse path also. So when we have deities on the altar, think of them as your children, but yet in an awe and reverence form. And we have to take care of them. So that's a commitment. Just like I said, having a piano doesn't make us master pianists. Just by giving birth to a child doesn't make us perfect parents. We have to constantly learn to be a good parent, a better parent every day. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. Okay. So beautiful. I bought an accordion to try to learn how to play accordion.
Why? What do you have to learn, Prabhu? You have
And now, just to buttress what you were just saying, buying a piano does not make you a pianist or even a. I don't even know what key means what. Even though I've had it for so long because I parked it somewhere. I remember some few weeks ago, my wife was asking me, so what is the value of buying this accordion? I don't practice it. So thank you so much. And it's a reminder that we try to practice whatever we're doing so nicely. Now, my last question, we've been here for quite a while.
Prabhuji, there is a question by Sumita Mataji in the chat.
Oh, sorry. Thank you for reminding me. Let me check to see. All right. Before we go on to my question, there is a question from Sumita Mata. It says, Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Mataji and dear devotees, please accept my humble obeisances. Her question is this: how do we come to the mood where we can chant Hare Krishna mantra attentively? This is a very important question. How do we come to that mood?
Hare
Because
Krishna.
this monkey mind doesn't stay one place for a long time at all. Hare Krishna.
I would use the analogy of Kale Dosh Nidhe Rajan, right? We are in this ocean of faults and we are being hit by all kinds of anarthas from all directions. If we are sinking, think of yourself being dropped in the middle of an ocean and big waves are coming and hitting you. And now you have to call out for help. How loudly and how attentively would you call it out? That should be the mood of chanting. That please help me, get me out of this material world. Please help me. And the only help you are asking is, please engage me in your devotional service with that mode. Like Srila Prabhupada gives the example of, like a child is crying for its mother. That's the mood. He already answered that. But we can also look at it from this verse perspective, that we are in this ocean of falls. The waves are constantly hitting. We cannot continue to swim in it. We don't have the capabilities. And so we have to call out with that mode. So think of yourself in that ocean. And now you have to ask to be saved. And that's your only anchor to get out of this material world. That's the mood. I want to get out of here. But it's not that you want to go back, it's a consciousness, right? So you want to come to that Krishna consciousness where you can see your life from a higher platform and see Krishna's blessings even in that state as how Krishna is blessing us, and use that as an inspiration to further help Krishna. So what's really is that we are not ever out of the material world, yet at the same time, just like we haven't ever attained perfection, we are only making progress. So progression is the part. And if we think even at the highest level that we are in this material world, we are in this fallen state, it will help us. You know, what makes a PhD person real PhD is that they realize how less they know. So the more we practice, we realize how worthy or how fallen state we are in. So that should help us. And when we see a devotee with that mood, instead of a devotee who's saying, I'm a humble devotee, the moment somebody says, I'm humble, they actually have told everyone, you better be humble in front of me. I'm not humble at all. They'll lose the humility by saying that word. So we have to be very cautious as what our true mood is and what our consciousness is. And the more we know, we understand how less we know. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Well, I guess my last question will actually be a follow-up to this question from Sumita Mata. That is, the answer and the explanation you gave is beautiful, but here is the problem I have, because if I'm in a situation, may Krishna forbid, let's say I'm in a vehicle and the vehicle is in the process of going into a ditch. The mood with which I'll call on Krishna will definitely be different from when I'm sitting here and just chanting. That is me. There are some people who, when they chanting, they are actually in the mood, feeling that this world is very dangerous. But to me, and I believe to many others, we don't truly and actually feel how dangerous this world is. And therefore, when we chant, when we're calling on the names of Krishna, we do not cry out to Krishna with that helpless mood a baby has calling on the parents for help. So I am wondering how, like Sumita, I was asking the mood, how do I get myself into the mood that really I'm in a very dangerous position? This Earth planet is very crazy, dangerous. There is fire. How do I get into that mood? I once asked my Gurudev, because it was and still is so difficult for me waking up in the morning attending Mangarati. So I asked my Guru, how do I get in the mood of getting up in the morning to attend Mangarati? And my Gurudev's response was, well, Sahadev, consider that the house in which you're staying in and sleeping in is on fire. I mean, if your house is on fire, how are you going to be able to stay there? But this sounds so right, but I don't feel that the house is on fire. So instead of waking up to attend Mangarati, so Prabhuji, how do we get into the mood? This is the question. I know that if it's really dangerous, I'll cry out to Krishna, please help me. But I do not find myself in the mood most of the time.
So one great sage, Kabir Das, he gave this response to this one, this inquiry that we just made. काल करे सो आज करे सो अब, पल में प्रलय होएगी, बहुरी करेगा कब. What he is saying is, whatever you're supposed to be doing tomorrow, do it today. And whatever you're supposed to be doing today, do it now. Because when will you do it? When everything is falling apart, right? Pralaya means everything is getting destroyed. Then when will you have the chance? So if you feel that you will have a greater mood that you're falling in ditch, your car is going in a ditch and you will call it to Krishna. If you're going to do that in future, that's your thought, right? That you'll have a different feeling. You should have that mode, or even a stronger mode of even a greater calamity that you think could happen to tomorrow, that would make you fearful and take more shelter of Krishna to be the present moment. If you don't chant with that, that is going to happen. That destruction, that calamity is coming on to you if you don't chant to Krishna now when you're in a safe state. We all actually do very good financial planning, right? We say, okay, tomorrow I'm expecting so much expenses to come my way. So I need to collect so much, have so much savings. But think of that money that you have is not as expenses, but as destruction of your possession. So you're planning about your finances for this material body, but you're failing to plan for your soul, which is your true identity. That is in this material world, which is an ocean of force, ocean of destruction. Various kind of calamities coming. Padam padam yati vipadam natesham. There is danger at every step. So before you lift your feet, you should be ready to make that step. There can be danger. So you have to make sure now to chant with that attention. Hare Krishna. Instead of thinking, oh, I'm so conveniently placed. No, that is one of the snare. I already covered it in the talk earlier. And that's a snare of Kali. So we have to be protective of the soul, our very being, instead of just the body. Hare Krishna. Does that help?
Oh yes, it helps. It helps a lot. See, thank you so much. I would say like few hours ago, I watched, say about 23 minutes video of His Holiness Bhakti Vikash Swami Maharaj. And I kind of resonate so much with what he was saying. He was saying that after being in devotional service for all these years, he thought that he could never be wowed. He could never see anything that would say, oh, because he's seen so much, but he's been blown away. There is someone who was in the Sannyas ashram. He's been in the Sannyas ashram for decades, and he's been doing amazing. And all of a sudden, he falls. So Maharaj was saying that he's shocked, even though he's not shocked because Maya could slap anyone. But the problem is this: we don't have sufficient fear for Maya, especially for us as Vaishnavas. We become Vaishnavas and we think that, oh yeah, now I'm a devotee. But this fear of Maya, I'm praying. When I listened to Maharaj, I started praying, Krishna, I know that this is your energy. Please help me have sufficient fear for Maya. And if, Prabhuji, please correct me, if this is a genuine and a bona fide way of approaching devotional service, then maybe you can highlight it to all devotees that we have sufficient fear for Maya because this energy is so strong. It's Krishna's energy. We cannot overcome it. Please, it's very dangerous. Hare Krishna.
So I said this earlier as well. We have discovered the enemy. The enemy is us. So because of this material body, we are thinking, I'm this material body and making plans around this material body for the welfare of this material body, forgetting about the bird in the body, the soul. So that's where the true awakening lies. I see people saying so many big words, but when it comes to their action, means again, I feel to see. And action speaks louder than words. Acharya means one who leads by example. And the first acharyas that we received are our parents. But those parents may not be so Krishna conscious, but we should not use that as an excuse. And when we see even a sannyasi, falling down, let's not forget, Bhagavatam starts with even Lord Brahma's example. So many examples we know of Devashi Narad. He is devotional service personified. A person who is endowed with unlimited devotional service is facing challenges. What to talk about us? We have not even touched the tip of that Mount Everest. We don't have even like any amount compared to what these personalities have. Lord Shiva being bewildered by Maya means when Mohini Murat comes in front of him, he's standing with his wife, Goddess Parvati, and forgets about her. He's running after Lord Vishnu in the form of Mohini. Maya is very strong, but then Yog Maya is much more strong. Radharani is, sometimes Yog Maya is making sure that all the bad guys are sent under the care of Maya. And she's making a quick selection of that as well. So we have to be very, very careful. And what do we think? The Maya, we think of this world? Well, this very body, these senses, all these knowledge acquiring, activity performing senses, all these are part of Maya. So we have to be and on top of that, when we talk about hearing about sannyasis having and experiencing a downfall, that means they actually just saw a snare of Maya and they couldn't control, they could not take shelter of Krishna more. But that doesn't mean that they're in a fallen state. They can immediately get up and be at the same spot the moment they again surrender to Krishna. So when, Bhaktivilas Swami is saying, His Holiness, that he was wowed by the strength of Maya. So he just saw a snare of Maya. But when you fall down, what do you do next? You get up, clean yourself up, and with greater energy, with greater surrender, greater humility, and having much higher level of tolerance, you engage. But what does humility and tolerance mean? It means it's focusing everything for Krishna's pleasure. That's what it means. There is no sannyasi in spiritual world. That's another statement I would like to make. So you can see all others. You can see, brahmacharis over there. You can see grihasthas over there. You can somehow see some level of vanaprasthis also over there, completely renounced, just helping others. But you'll never see a sannyasi in the spiritual world. So Lord Krishna maintained this Chaturvarna Maya system, Guna Karma Vibhaksha, for the material world. But everywhere there is not thinking of where they are, but why they are there, for Krishna's pleasure. So they engage in Krishna's service, and that should be more. Hare Krishna.
Wow, so beautiful. Thank you so much. And may Shri Guru and Krishna continue to bless you.
Hare Krishna. Need all your blessings.
To extend the blessing to us and to the world. Dear devotees, we thank you all for your patience and your association as always. And at this point, we're going to humbly request you all to kindly unmute yourselves. And we all, with one voice, chant Hare Krishna Maha Mantra to express our deepest appreciation to our revered speaker for today, His Grace, JIVA TATTVA Prabhu, for sharing his love and wisdom with us all. Jai. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Amcha kalpa
Meta Gora Pivinande. Tattva Prabhu ki jai.
Hare